Hi, I'm Julia Hankins, and I work with kids yoga teachers to help them grow in confidence so that they can teach more children and change the world for the better. So, for the whole month of February, my content, so that's my videos and my blogs, are all going to be about planning. It sounds really boring, doesn't it, planning? And actually, as a teacher, for many, many years, I hated planning. I found it really boring, and it's one of the reasons I left teaching. And there's that whole phrase, isn't there, of fail to plan and plan to fail. Oh God, it's such a horrible phrase. But it makes me feel horrible, just the word actually, planning. But having said that, it's a really useful tool, and to be an effective practitioner, you should be planning, really. I don't believe that it's completely accurate to say that you'll fail if you don't plan, because I think as kids yoga teachers, we can be really intuitive people. I'm really good at reading a room. I'm really good at sensing what the children need and kind of co-creating. And I do think that there's definitely room for creativity. I'm not thinking that, we create a plan and we stick rigidly with it. It's more we create a plan and then we hold it lightly, and we can be creative within it. So I'm going to be referring to my notes because I've got a lot of information that I'm not sure I can hold in my head. Actually, I'm sure I can't hold it all in my head. So I'll be looking down every now and again to refer to my plans, but hopefully that won't be too distracting. So, why is planning useful in your kids yoga classes? Why not just turn up and teach what's in your head on any particular day? Well, if you plan your lessons, then you're less likely to repeat the same things for the same groups of children. Or if you do repeat them, it's going to be with intentionality. You're going to be repeating it for a particular reason, and you're going to know that you've taught it before. You won't have that situation where you come to do something and the kids go, "We've already done this." Because if they say we've already done this and you know you've already done this, then you can say, "Yeah, we've done it before, and this time we're going to do it differently in this way." So it's about having something to refer back to, knowing what you've already done, and that can inform what you can do next, so that you can build on it, so that you can make it more challenging, or even just because it was fun and you're referring back to it and doing it again because it was a fun thing to do. You don't have to always do something new every single time you teach children. It's really good to reinforce things that you already know. So another reason why planning is good for you and good for the children that you teach is that your lesson plans will have a structure and a flow. And so things will fit together nicely or more effectively. And so it just works better because you know where you're going and you've got some sort of like route way through. And that's really good for you and the children. But lesson planning also helps you to be a reflective practitioner, which makes you better at your job. It means that you can scribble on your plans, you can write what worked, what didn't work, and it's a document, a useful document that you can refer back to and use as a tool to plan future lessons, so that your lessons will get better and better with a group of children, but also across groups of children, because you'll find commonality in the things that you're delivering, and you'll find that there are some things that work really well for you and some things that don't, or there's some things that work for a particular age group and don't work for others. And teaching kids yoga is such a personal thing that what works for one person may not work for you, and what you might find really simple and easy and may flow for you may just be a total nightmare for somebody else. And having a plan that you can scribble on and add things to and refer back to just helps you to kind of be really clear about what it is that you enjoy doing. And also you can reuse them, and you can use them for a tool for inspiration for other future plans. So also another reason why planning is good is that it's good for your own nervous system, because you know what's coming and you know what you're doing next, and you know that you're not going to be put on the spot because you've got a plan there that you can refer back to. And some days you may not be feeling so creative, so creating a plan when you are feeling creative means that you can capitalize on that. So Yeah, planning is a funny thing because actually many kids yoga teachers have spoken to me about planning before and about structuring their classes, and they feel like, and this may not be you because we're all different, aren't we? But a lot of people who I've spoken to who are kids yoga teachers have said that the training that they went on was really effective at giving them lots of lovely ideas and game ideas and lots of lovely activities to do with kids, but they weren't really sure how to plan a lesson. And sometimes it can make you feel a bit unconfident, underconfident, less than confident. I may be making up words here, but it makes people feel embarrassed as well if they feel like they can't plan, they can't structure, or they're not entirely sure what to do when. And so if this is you, if you're feeling this way, then hopefully this video is going to be helpful for you, and hopefully all of my content in February will be useful for you too. But if it's not for you, if you do know your plans and you're super confident with them, then you may choose to miss these, or you may like to watch along and see if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, because we all have our own unique styles and things that we bring to the table. Yeah, so when I first started teaching kids yoga, I felt like I was planning all of the time. And I don't know whether this was because I brought it with me, moving from being a class teacher to a kids yoga teacher. So I don't know whether it was a habit that I got into and I just did it because that's what I did. Or I don't know if I did that just because I thought I had to. But either way, I was planning way too much. I was spending an awful lot of time doing my plans. I felt like I was planning for every single class, just like, you know, every week, maybe multiple times a week actually, because I plan for each individual class on a class by class basis. And so I wanted to just share with you some ideas, if that's what you're doing now, some ideas and tips to help you gain back some time so that you're not spending the whole time planning, because, if we're going to change the world by gifting children with the gift of yoga, then really you don't want to be spending the whole time writing plans. So there's this video is all about the three main types of planning. So I'm going to talk through what the three main types of planning are and what that might look like in your yoga business. So there's basically a long-term plan, a medium-term plan, and a short-term plan. And getting your head around what these are and how you can use them can really help impact the quality of your classes and give you confidence in what it is that you're delivering. So let's get straight in there. Long-term plans. So this is something that I would do probably just once a year. I tend to work with the academic years because the majority of the work that I do is in schools, and I have children myself. So working with the academic year really works well for me, but that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. You may work to the calendar year, or you may have your own or tax year, or you may have a different way of working, but a long-term plan is generally an annual plan. And so I would tend to do this just once a year, and then but it's like a working document, so I'll jot on it with pencils as things get added in. And so things that I might include in a long-term plan might be key dates or important things, but I would definitely put in the dates as well of what of like how long terms are, so I know how many weeks I've got in each half term. Because I work in schools and they're all different as well. You can have some terms that are like 4 or 5 weeks, some half terms that are 4 or 5 weeks long, or some half terms that are like 8 or 9 weeks long. Sometimes if it's that long December one, that can be a right nightmare. So yeah, I tend to put dates on, and I tend to put key things that are happening in that time. So if there's any kind of teacher training days, or if there's any special days that the school are celebrating, but it'll be personal to you, whatever's important in your business, in your classes, that you put in that long-term plan. And I'd also map out themes that I was going to use, and it's really good to have those already mapped out and just spend a bit of time once a year to kind of map out, okay, structurally, what things might I be teaching about in this time of year, and you may change it, you know, it's not fixed, but it's good to have it there to refer back to. So that's a long-term plan. Just check and see if I've missed anything out. Yeah, I'm like pulling my arms right back like that because I normally wear glasses. Go gadget arms. So medium term plans, this is actually the plan that I use most and the plan that I refer to the most, because I tend to plan for a whole half term, and I'll plan all of the lessons across the half term and have them on one page, usually for each particular group. And this works for me because I like to see over the weeks that I'm working with them, at a glance, what did they do last week? What are they going to do next week? And so the medium term plan is just a really useful plan for me personally. But again, not everybody will like that particular way of working, and some people prefer short-term plans, which I'll come to in a minute. So yeah, in my medium term plan, I detail each aspect of the lesson, and I will map out what I'm going to do in each of those aspects across the whole half term, and I will do it all in one go. And so I will do that at the beginning of each half term, usually at the beginning of each half term, sometimes at the end of the previous half term, depending on my timing and what my calendar looks like on my diary. But you can download a freebie of the short, the medium, and the long-term plans. I'm going to put a link in the comments here so that if you find that useful, you can download that. But yeah, the medium-term plan is what I really use the most, the majority, to refer back to. It's what I have with me, and I read it in my lesson when I'm teaching. Just trying to see. Yeah, so I batch my planning. So that means that I do all of my plans at the beginning of the half term, which I just said, or a previous one. And this is because I'm neurodivergent, and that works really well for me to kind of block out a period of time. I'll be talking about that in either next week or the week after. Forget which one it is, but I'll be talking a bit more about how to batch planning and how that might work for you. But it really works for me because I can really hyper focus and get it all done in one big session. And little hacks like that really help me, because once I've kind of created those plans, I can print them and pop them in my folder, and then I've got them then for the whole of the half term, and I don't have to think about them again, apart from when I'm teaching and then I'm jotting on them. So yeah, that's my medium-term plans. And then the short-term plans. Now, I don't often use a short-term plan, really. A short-term plan is one plan that, I'm just very aware that I'm using the word plan an awful lot, but a short-term plan is really just one lesson. And so I might use a short-term plan if I'm working with a group that I don't normally work with. So if I'm doing a one-off session for rainbows or brownies or guides or scouts, or if I'm doing a wellbeing day at a school that I haven't worked with before, or if it's about a particular theme and a specific lesson, then I will have an actual lesson plan that's like a short-term plan, and it will be more detailed. And the reason why I don't use this very often is because it's enough for me now, after being teaching for such a long time, it's enough for me to write such and such breathing, and I know what that means, or such and such game, and I know what that means, or these poses, and I know that when I do those poses, I also do these limbering up moves and these activities, and so I don't feel like I need that much detail in my medium-term plan. But if it was something I wasn't feeling that confident in doing, then I would have a lot more detail in a short-term plan. So if you're fairly new in your teaching journey, or in your kids yoga teaching journey, or even if that's just the way that you work and you like to have it all written down, then short-term plans might be most useful to you. And you can put in their little scripts of things that you will say at certain times of the lesson, like the little script that you'll say at the beginning, or phrases that you might say in each section of the lesson. And so it's all on one page. So that's mainly one page for one lesson. And you can download that in the freebie, because that's included in the freebie too. So yeah, that's the short-term plan. Oh, I also might include in the short-term plan timings. So if I'm not entirely sure how the lesson's going to go, then I will have like timings, and not saying like 10 minutes on this or 15 minutes on this, but saying the actual time of the lesson. So if, for example, the lesson was from 10 till 11, then I might have like little time prompts within the short-term plan. So it might say, I don't know, 10 till 10:05 rules. So I know when I'm looking at my plan quickly, oh, it's 8 minutes past 10 and I'm only now just finishing the rules. I need to think about that. So it kind of keeps me on track. And so I know that, my relaxation will need to be at a certain time. So I'm keeping an eye on the clock so that when I can start the next time. And so that's really helpful for me if I'm teaching something that's not quite as straightforward or that's new. So that's short-term planning. So yeah, you may be thinking, where do I even begin with this? Where do I even start? And removing barriers is that's what I'm all about, making life simpler, making life easier, and helping people. And so if you feel like you would benefit from the freebies of the plans, then feel free to download them. There is nothing fancy about them. There's no like frilly branding or bells and whistles. Kind of weird if a document did have bells and whistles, but there's no like fanciness to them. They're literally 3 pages of a Word document that you can go into, you can edit, you can change them, you can make them completely your own. And so, this isn't about you being a cut and paste version of me. This is about me sharing with you things that I've created so that you can adapt it to suit you and your style and what works for you. So you might find, oh, okay, this is a useful plan, but I don't actually teach this aspect, or I teach this aspect and Julia hasn't included it. So you just edit it and use it to your own, for your own thing. And that's how I've set it up. That's why it's just a Word document, not a very pretty PDF version. So yeah, I'm hoping that you'll find those freebies really useful. And if you find planning tricky, even after you've downloaded the freebies and you're not sure where to go next, there's a training that I do called Structure for Success, which you can just buy and watch it straight away. It's a video, so you can, I think there's a booklet with it as well, so you can just pause it at different points and come back to it, rewatch it as many times as you like. And that's all about structuring lessons for work in schools mainly, so curriculum classes. I think I do touch a little bit on there in about extracurricular classes, but it's mainly predominantly about structuring a lesson for within school. And so you might find that really helpful. But if you are still struggling and you would like some more high touch work, then I also run sessions, one-to-one sessions with kids yoga teachers, playful planning sessions. And so how that works is you email me and say that you'd like a session, then I email you a Google form for you to fill in and populate some information about your business. And it is business. Some people feel weird about calling their kids yoga business a business, but it is. So I ask you some questions about your business, you fill in the Google form, and then we arrange a mutually convenient time. We have an hour on Zoom. So we're not wasting the hour with me getting to know you and getting you to know your business. I've already got that information from the form. And then I work with you for an hour to help you come up with a plan that would work for you and give you some strategies and ideas that might work for you in your business to personalize it. Because we're not all the same. And this isn't about me sitting with you and saying, you need to do it this way. This is how to do it, because I don't believe in that. This is more of an opportunity of me learning about you and your style and what's unique to you, and helping you and providing you with the tools that you need to create plans that work for you. And help you with the progression of the lessons that you teach. So if you think that you would find that really helpful, then email me at julia@juliahankins.co.uk and put in the subject Playful Planning Hour. And I'll make sure that I send you the Google form for you to fill in. So hopefully that's really useful. And hopefully you'll find the freebies useful. Stay tuned for the rest of February, because I'll be talking more about planning. And if you're not already a member of the Facebook group, it's called School Yoga Teachers. Please feel free to join that group. Feel free to email me any questions that you might have, and I'll try my best to answer them. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I am saying that I've got experience and things I can share with you. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found this useful. I would love to know what you thought. And also, don't forget to check out the freebie. Goodbye.